Hey, this is Lee Waller, and welcome to this quick tutorial in After Effects. I'm going to take a look at masks today and how you can use them. I have this basketball here, and I want to be left with nothing but the basketball. I want to drop out the background. So, to draw a mask, the layer that you want to use that mask on needs to be selected down in the timeline. I'm going to come up here to the rectangle tool, click and hold on that, and you'll see all of the options that I have for the rectangle tool. I'm going to drop down here to the ellipse tool, select that, and then I'm going to come into the composition on the layer that I want to draw this mask, and I'm going to kind of guesstimate it this a little bit and start clicking and dragging. Make sure that you click and drag and just try to dial that in a little bit. Now I am off there on my left side and possibly up at the top. Once I've drawn that, I'm going to let go and grab my selection tool up here. You can see now that I have a mask drawn around this object, and I have a mask down here in the timeline. We can scroll that open and there are a few options we can work with, but I want to clean this mask up a little bit real quick. So I'm going to come over here to the path that has been drawn, and I'm going to double click on it. Now I have this bounding box with these handles, and I can push and pull this in a little bit so that I get it much closer. Check the top there and maybe up just a little bit on the bottom. And I think this side is good. I'm going to select off of that, kind of get an idea. It looks like it's pretty close. I am going to demonstrate these options here real quick. The shape is what we've already drawn. The feather here will feather this edge, and I do want to feather this edge a little bit, but I'm going to exaggerate this a good bit so that you can see how this works. You can see that that edge is feathering quite a bit. But I want to just dial this in maybe about 5 pixels to soften up this edge here just a tiny bit. And then the mask opacity, of course, is what's inside of the mask. We can draw that up or down. And then the mask expansion can go either way. We can expand that mask or we can draw it in. And I'm going to draw this in maybe -3 pixels. Again, just to kind of clean this edge up and make it look good. Let's see. I have a solid under here. We can take a look, and there is that mask. I could do a little more work here on the sides, maybe by drawing that in a few more pixels. How about a -6 pixels, and we'll see what happens. Okay, looks a lot better, but there is drawing a mask using the ellipse tool. Now I want to take a look at, here I have this window. I want to take a look at drawing some masks in these windows. To do that, again, I need to select that layer, and I'm going to come up here to my rectangle tool, select my rectangle tool. I'm going to zoom in to the composition viewer just a little bit by using my scroll wheel, and then I can use the space bar to get the hand tool, and then I can click and drag this, move this around. With the rectangle tool selected, I'm going to click right here in the corner, drag, come down, and yeah, you can see that I need to bring this in a little bit, bring it up just a little bit, and now I'm going to let go. The problem is this has drawn a mask in the window, and I want to mask out this area. Let's go back down to our timeline. You can see the mask that we have drawn, and over here it says add. What we want to do is change that to subtract. Now we are subtracting this information, and we are cutting this space out. To do the rest of these windows, since they're symmetrical, we can take this mask, copy it, Command-C or Control-C. I need to select that layer again, and then Command-V to paste it. That new mask is right there. I need to get my selection tool, come over here to that path, double-click on that path, and now I can move that by using my arrow keys, and if I hold down the Shift key, it will speed that up a little bit, but I can get that moved over to the right, and now I can select both of these masks, copy them, and then select that layer, paste them. There are my 2 new masks, and again, using the Shift key and the arrow keys, I can start moving these into place. And if I need to dial it in a little bit, I can let go of the Shift key. It will slow that down. And there I have 2 more masks drawn in. I'm using the space bar again to get the hand tool and clicking and just moving my viewer around. Those 2 masks are still selected, so I'm going to copy those. Make sure I select the layer, paste 2 new masks, and now I can Shift and arrow those down into place. Now what I want to do is select all 6 of them. I'm going to select the first one, hold down the Shift key, and select the last one. I'm going to copy those and select my layer and paste 6 new ones. And again, using the Shift key and the arrow keys, I can move the new 6 ones over to the right and start dialing those in a little bit better. And now I can zoom out, and using the spacebar hand tool, I can get the viewer back in place. You can see now that I have cut out all of the windows, and just to check that, there's the blue solid behind it, so we can see that we are clearly seeing through the windows. For a more in-depth look, check out my other tutorials on After Effects.